Erica Schoenberg has over $500,000 in lifetime poker tournament earnings. Before she became a professional poker player, she played blackjack, which she also excelled at since she was trained by an MIT blackjack team member. Erica has had 8 major cashes in the last year, starting off with her 16th place finish in the 2006 WPT Championship Tournament. Her most recent cash came at the Bellagio Cup 3's championship event, where she finished in 18th place. Her fiancé, high-stakes cash game player David Benjamin, finished 20th in that same tournament. Earlier this week, we went to Erica and David's to talk to her about, what else? Poker.
Erica, how did you become involved in the poker world?
I had always been involved in gaming my entire life, playing cards.
Weren't you a blackjack player at one point?
I was. I played a lot of blackjack, and eventually I got hooked up with a team, which was really kind of what propelled me into poker. Was blackjack because I was playing for a show called the World Series of Blackjack for GSN, and then they asked me to do a poker show. So I said, sure, I'd love to, you know. I'd always had like a natural affinity for cards, so I said, sure, and I'd played poker growing up, but it was by no means a good poker player, as anyone who saw Poker Royale Youngbloods can attest to. So anyways, in short, I played on that show for GSN, and that I got totally crushed by like Grinder, Fishman, and a couple other pros, and so I decided to start taking the game seriously, and that's when I learned how to play.
How did you come to get your game up to a higher caliber? I mean, now you're a professional poker player. You've had a great month.
Yeah.
What was the best poker advice that really got you on track?
Honestly, I mean, I couldn't just pick one specific thing that really took my game to the next level, but I mean, obviously, you know, David has been just so, you know, such a key part of my game. But also, I think, you know, what's really, you know, for me anyways, has been just talking poker is what we do. We talk a lot of poker. I mean, obviously we play a lot online. I watch him play online, but we talk a lot about it and talk through hands, and I don't know, something just clicked these past couple of months, and I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but I've been on a roll, so.
Do you think that you've also helped improve David's game in any ways?
I'd like to think so. It's not so much his game that I'd like to improve, but his money management, his time management. I mean, Dave, not his demeanor. He's got an awesome table presence. Okay. Sometimes I think he talks a little too much, but only in terms of like just because I think he can give too much information away. But I hope you didn't hear me say that. But he's always telling me not to talk, you know. So this last tournament we played, and he was talking during a hand, and I was just like, shut up. But he's such an amazing player. There's really not much to improve for him.
So as a woman, do you think that men do look at you differently at a poker table as an attractive young woman going out there to play poker?
Well, I don't think so much as when I first started playing. I think men just, I mean, no offense to the men in the room, but I think men just naturally underestimate women in pretty much anything.
So you think you can capitalize on that at the poker table?
Absolutely, and I want men to think that I don't know what I'm doing, and that's fine.
So event number 38 of the World Series, you made a final table. You came this close to a bracelet. Tell us about the tournament.
That was such an amazing tournament for me. Gosh, it's obviously like my most momentous, you know, achievement. It didn't turn out obviously like I wanted it to, but I can't complain. I mean, third place in such a big field is just amazing, and it was such a learning experience. So I hope I have the chance to do that again, another World Series final table.
Were there any big hands that you recall from that tournament that helped propel you to the final table?
Well, if we were to go kind of in chronological order, I remember at the end of day one of that tournament, I was all in with Ace-Jack against, what was it? Ace-5. So, I mean, but I was all in, you know, at the end of night, you know, day one. And so that hand really, you know, shot me forward to, you know, hanging on. And then day two, I doubled up pretty early in day two. I had kings all in again against King-Jack. So another, you know, where I'm getting my money in really good. Just a few hands like that. And then, you know, from there I was able to just steamroll and make some moves, and then the final table.
What was it like to appear at your first World Series final table?
It was such a strange thing. Like, being at the final table was really, it was weird because I didn't think I was nervous. Like, I really didn't feel nervous, but then in hindsight, I was so freaking nervous. Like, I was so nervous, and I didn't think it affected my play at the time, but now looking back, I think there were a few things that there were some things I would do differently, and I'm wondering if I did those things out of nerves because they weren't things that I usually do in my game.
So the field was almost 3,000 people in that tournament, and you went out third. What advice would you give to getting through such a massive field?
I think the key is just patience. I don't pay any attention to how many players are left. Like while I'm playing, I'm not paying attention to what the chip average is, how many, if, somebody over at the next table has a mountain of chips. I don't care. I'm just focused on me and like what I'm doing in the moment.
And then a few weeks after that, the Bellagio Cup 3 championship comes up. Yeah. Tell us about that tournament. You went pretty deep there as well.
I did. That tournament, oh gosh, I've had such high hopes for that tournament as well because I was feeling really confident from the World Series and I was feeling good and really comfortable at the table, just relaxed and really feeling good about my game. And I went really deep, as did David, which was awesome. And I made the final 2 tables and, definitely some hands I would have played differently towards the end.
There was one hand you played really well, though, against the chip leader for the whole tournament and the eventual champion, Kevin Saul. You flopped a set of kings, and you called your bets all the way to the river, and then he called you all in, right?
Yeah, he did. That was kind of an interesting hand.
How did that go?
Well, the thing that was interesting about that hand was I did something that I don't usually do before the flop, and I min-raised Kevin.
With Buck King?
Yeah, and he was raising a ton of hands, obviously, with a ton of chips, as he should be. And I wanted the action, but I should never, it's not something I would do to raise so little. So I was trying something different, and ironically, I had David standing behind me for that hand. He had come over, there was a big hand at his table, and he had come over and was watching because it was towards the end of the night, and we were hand for hand. And I think I was so nervous. Sometimes when David watches me play, I get really
You want to perform
up
to his standards.
It's just like I was saying before, though. Like, I don't know that I'm nervous at the time, but then afterwards I'm like, oh my gosh.
Why were you standing behind me during that hand
totally,
trying to play?
Exactly. Like, stop it. But he was standing right behind me for this hand, and I min-raised Kevin, and of course, I got berated for that later. But it worked out. It worked out. It's not something that I would generally advise, but it worked out. I got action. I checked the flop, let him catch 2 pair on the turn. And I doubled up, so that was huge.
So you did outlast David. I believe he went out 20th in the tournament. You were 18th.
Yeah.
Was there a point when you were playing at the same table?
Yeah, we were at the same table.
With 3 tables left, it's almost inevitable.
Yeah, we were. And we didn't get involved in any pots together, not because I wasn't trying necessarily to avoid him. I wouldn't play differently against him. But they were doing this thing where every 7 hands or something, we were changing tables. Jack has this.
Oh, okay.
I forget what it is. It's kind of like this weird, weird rule or whatever.
Do you two find that you are often knocked out kind of close to each other in tournaments? I've seen that with other couples.
That doesn't happen. Well, actually, not really. I find that, usually one of us goes deep, but this was the first time that both of us had gone really deep in the same tournament.
So what would you say are David's main strengths as a poker player?
I think David, he has his biggest strength as a poker player would probably be, I don't know if I could pick just one. I mean, he's so good at poker. It's freaky. Like I was telling you earlier, David's good at a lot of things. He's one of those guys that he's good at tennis, he's good at billiards, he's good at playing the piano, he's good at poker.
What can you beat him at?
Volleyball. Although he'll tell you otherwise. He'll tell you he beat me just a few weeks ago in Mexico, but whatever. You can't play one-on-one, and he doesn't. I wasn't calling anything on him. But anyways, in terms of poker, I think for tournaments, maybe I'm more geared towards tournaments and he's more geared towards cash game play. Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying.
So if we sat you guys down here heads up and you took it totally seriously, who do you think would win?
Oh. Well, it depends on what game.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Game?
It does. Well, obviously Hold'em is my best game, but it doesn't matter. I'm just not going to answer that. I'm going to decline to answer that.
So can you answer the next one? Who's the better poker player in this household?
I'm gonna throw some shout outs to David. He's the better player. He is, but I'm catching up quickly.
Yeah. So do you think that this year you're gonna just keep tearing through tournament fields?
I hope so. That's the plan, anyways, to tear through Europe now.
And what's the next event you'll be? Barcelona?
Barcelona, yeah, and then the World Series of Poker London, and then Paris, and what else? Back to London. Yeah,
Austria.
Austria. We're going to be all over Europe, so hopefully it'll turn out well.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Erica.
Thank you.
Earlier, I talked to Erica, and I asked her who would win if you played heads up here at this table, took it totally seriously. Who do you think would win?
Oh, her. I have no shot.
No shot?
No.
What are Erica's main poker strengths?
I don't know. I should.
Wow.
No, I didn't.
You don't have
I didn't,
to seem
I
so
didn't understand.
speechless.
I didn't understand the question.
What do you think is the best aspect of her game that's helping her make it through
That's
these
what I thought,
fields?
Yeah, right. Didn't understand the
No, I
question.
didn't.
He was like, eh.
No.
Let's see.
I can totally answer that. Well, it's going to be, first of all, her patience. She's very patient, and the fact that she's, whenever you start playing poker, you have that hunger. You're very hungry, and she loves it. She's very hungry. She wants to win. She hates to be a loser. She would hate it. So I know she's going to be a winner, and then she's already showed so much. And that makes her be really good at any time. So, anytime she plays, she doesn't want to look bad. She wants to look good, but she also wants to be good. So that makes her make the right decisions at all time.
So how has she helped to improve your poker game?
My poker game?
Yeah.
Well, she hasn't helped yet. No, I'm joking. I wouldn't want to say that in front of her, but I will. That's okay. No, just because I don't want her to get too cocky. She's already cocky enough.
Okay.
By being very patient and I'm much more eccentric or extreme in what I do, and she's not the opposite, but she is very relaxed when she plays, very calm, and she's stressed out, but she's very stressed out sometimes, but she manages to hide it pretty well. And I think what I got in her poker game is mostly her patience. She's very patient, and the way she analyzes things. I used to analyze like instantly because of the years of playing poker, so long already for me, like 8 years or 9 years. She's only been playing now for a couple of years, I would think, and really hard only in the last one. And already, the way she's thinking, her attitude is really a winning attitude. She can totally see all that's going on, right and left. I know I helped her a lot with that, but now she's helping me back, because sometimes you forget the essential when you're playing poker. You think it's only about looking at your cards and then making the decision in function of the flop and whatever, or the positions of the players, but it's not only about that. It's also about all that's going around. Some players are nervous at the table, some players are having a phone call, and you can just hear that they're mad, and maybe they're going to throw the chips in, and so she's being very careful and aware of everything that's going around poker, not only in the poker deck. And then I think that helps me a lot. That reminds me, that poker is not only about one thing. It's not only about playing good cards. It's about everything that's around the table, on the table, in people's eyes, and that's what she helped me. And her patience is very good.
This is Lizzy Harrison with Erica Schoenberg and David Benjamin for Card Player TV.